And this episode of Hattrick Hockey is brought to you by our good friends over at Claru and Son Roofing. These guys are the kings of roofing, Tristan, like we say, the kings of roofing. These guys last summer alone, over 25,000 bundles of shingles done. They're fully insured. They offer free estimates. The work they do is incredible, and they always get the job done right the first time. So be sure to hit up the boys over at Claru and Son Roofing, because like we always say, when you want your roof done, call Claru and Son, baby.
Mm-hmm.
No time.
Well, coming behind enemy lines today a little bit. Tristan, explain to everybody who we have on with us today.
All right, gladly. Thanks, Ant. So today, welcome back, everyone. We welcome to the show a young man from Sarnia who recently single-handedly brought a team on a deep playoff run. He, even to this moment, with 5 games less played than everyone around him, has faced the most shots in the PJHL playoffs.
That's nuts.
His save percentage also ranks second among starters in the playoffs with a .944. We welcome to the show Mooretown Flags goaltender, John Chartrand. John, how are you doing, buddy?
Thank you guys for having me. Much appreciated.
Dude, that is crazy. Some of your numbers are still sticking.
Yeah, it's I mean, I haven't looked at it too much, but I have looked at it. I like to see the minutes up there, and I wish they could have kept climbing a bit, but team effort though all the way through.
The shot, so
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Michelin man.
Yeah, well, even our first round, I mean, like we were neck and neck with Blenheim all year, like just battling between that 4th and that 5th spot. And even that first game, that double OT, 60 shots. And I think that's kind of when it clued in. I was like, oh, we're in for one here. I mean, same with that Blenheim goalie. Like he got pumped too, right? So I think Blenheim had 60. We had like 56.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I actually can't, like, I heard about you because when you guys played in Essex this year, I don't think you got to start in the regular season.
No.
So it was a different perspective. I'm coming, I'm like thinking like, oh, okay, Mooretown, they're whatever, they were about middle of the road in the division. They were good. They weren't bad. They beat everyone they needed to beat. And I'm looking and I'm like, how are they up beating, like Blenheim beat Essex the last 3 times they faced each other.
Yeah,
and
I was like twice in 1 week.
And I went and watched the game on the road and I'm like, holy smokes, Blenheim, they picked up some junior B defenseman who's nuts.
Benz,
and I'm like,
yeah, he's a dog out there.
I'm watching this and I'm like, wait, who's this goalie? And my buddy tells me, he's like, oh, he's a Saginaw. Like, they called this kid up. Like, he's nuts, Tristan. And I'm like, all right, we'll see how he is. Sure enough, I'm looking round 1. This guy's putting a big fat egg on this Blenheim team that's strong. And I'm like, okay, I'm not looking forward to playing this guy. And sure enough, we came up to it. Like, what's going through your head when you're facing all these, like you even said to me, the quality of Essex shots versus Blenheim shots, it's a different ratio.
It's drastic. It's crazy.
What goes through your head? Like, does that really make or break a goalie when you get into those 40+ shot games?
Actually, I mean, like the way I see it, the more pucks, the better, because nothing really goes through my head. It's just kind of second nature, right? Like you don't really think, you just kind of do, right? So, I mean, you're getting pumped. You're getting a shot a minute or 2 shots every couple 30 seconds, whatever, right? You're not really thinking. Like we've had a couple of those slow games against Wallaceburg where you see like 10, 15 shots.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them are dumpings from the red line. I'm sure you guys would know Essex,
yeah.
Like, a lot of them, like they aren't such high quality shots. Like they're not Lakeshore Essex shots, right? And it's actually, I find it harder to stay focused in those games. So when I'm seeing eating those 45, 50 Essex shots, I mean, that's what I live for. I love that.
Oh,
well, too, also when you have all those shots too, it kind of allows you to like get into a little bit more of a groove, right? Like it allows you to kind of lock in, and then like you had said, when you get those 10, 15 shots game and 7 of those shots are from center ice.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times, though, those are the games where you let in the softie, right? Because you're not used to the frickin', you're just standing there with your feet fucking freezing. Like, sucks.
Yeah. That's exactly what I mean. I had one of those little muffins squeak in one time, and yeah, hopefully never again, but is what it is.
That's gonna happen. But what made you want to be a goalie in the first place?
Oh, geez. That's kind of a tough one. I think it has to go back to instructional hockey back in the Timbits days, and where everyone gets a turn with the nice yellow goalie pads. And I was just itching to get those pads on, and I don't know what it was, but it just clicked. It just those yellow pads went on and never came off.
Hmm.
I think it was the I'm not even gonna lie. I think it might have been the idea that I don't have to skate all game. And then yeah, little did I realize that now it's a lot more tiring than I thought it was. It's
Hmm.
got all those pictures downstairs hanging up of me just actually on my butt mid game.
Just
That's how I
sitting there
liked
like,
it. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's
that's
how it
funny,
was. So I
man.
mean, hey, I don't regret it though.
No.
There's those couple times where I kind of wish I was that player, and like those gritty playoff series, you wish you're just in the action, you're not 200 feet away, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
I don't regret it.
Just
Definitely
just
enjoy it.
skate all the way, man. It only costs you two
Yeah,
minutes.
hey,
It only
that's
costs you
what I
two
mean.
two
That's what I
minutes across
mean.
the red line.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
So I want you to talk a bit about like what your family does with billeting and stuff like that, and also talk a bit about
Yeah.
you have a pretty cool billeting story of someone who billeted near you in Sarnia.
Yeah. So we a couple of years ago when the Sarnia Sting had the goalie Ethan Langevin, he's a Whitby boy, played for the Whitby Wildcats, Ajax Pickering. They're in the OJHL,
Mm.
and he was I think a sixth round draft pick to the Sting, and he was playing here. He moved in with us. We took him in as a billet. I was one of the coolest experiences. Like just the billet alone, because like I was still 14, 15 at the time, right? So like we have this OHL guy living with us, look up to him like, holy shit, like this guy's God, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And of all players too, it's a goalie
Mhm.
living with a goalie. So like, I think that first year I really may have annoyed him a bit, just bombarded him with questions and skills and tips and what all the gear's like, all the free gear they got. He's always coming home with new stuff, and we are like, oh my god, he's like royalty, right?
Mhm.
So really looked up to him. That billet that was so cool. I mean, unmatched. We haven't done that anymore ever since he aged out. So just kind of gone back to normal,
Mhm.
It's awesome.
which didn't even feel like normal because he was living with us for 3-4 years, right? So
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
It's like a big
So
brother.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Seriously, it was, especially still being in those younger years. Like I looked up to that guy a ton.
So you grew up in Sarnia, but you're in Mooretown now, or do you guys
Yeah.
still reside
So
in Sarnia?
yeah, I was born in Mississauga and then
Okay.
came to Sarnia when I was little. Like I was less than a year old, I think, and came to Sarnia. I still live in Sarnia, but played in Mooretown. It's about a 15-minute drive. Like it's really not too bad.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize they were that close. So dumb me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you maybe push the speed a little bit, but
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
but still.
Oh yeah, I know. I
driving,
didn't
not
realize it
driving
was.
dot on 10 and 2 all the way there, right? So,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, no,
funny.
I didn't realize it was that close either, Ant, because I had said to Ant online, I'm like, hey, that game six between Essex and Mooretown, I'll live stream it. Then I get there and I'm like, oh shoot, it's giving me like, hey, whatever, welcome to the United States. And I'm like,
that is the worst part.
I can't do anything. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, well, I can't even text Ant right now.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? But talk going to that situation, just I don't want you to sewer your team obviously or anything, but just share your opinions and thoughts on how the tail end of that series went with Essex.
Tail end. I mean, it's actually funny because you guys all know, and I'm sure everyone who followed the series knew that last game, we didn't even know about it. Like we were out fair and square. Essex won the series. In my opinion, did that really matter? If he scored a goal, maybe. Assist is an assist, and I mean, who's checking that, right?
Hmm.
Like I heard something about it's on the GMs to track and that. But I mean, from a Moortown standpoint, yeah, that's awesome. Like we got
Oh.
one back and we're still alive, we're still kicking, right? So I mean,
Hmm.
like, oh hey, we're pumped, and I don't know. So we got to that game six, and I think it was almost like a mindset issue. Like we were already in that mindset, like, oh look, the season's done. We're looking forward to that last practice with the pizza and everything, right?
Hmm.
And we come back and we got this game six now the next day. We didn't even realize we were on the bus ride home, got to Mooretown. I'm at the back, like I was laying on the bags or whatever, and I was out cold. I woke up and I heard some guys like, all screaming and howling like, oh, we're playing another game. And I was like, oh yeah, like, oh, we got our red versus white Mooretown game at the end of the year. And then when I'm unpacking my bags, our GM was like, so you ready for game 6? And I was like, best of 7. I thought we lost 4. He's like, oh, well, good chance it's being reversed. So, I mean, like I said, Mooretown standpoint, that's pretty awesome that we got that back
Mhm.
in the grand scheme of things.
The only thing that I didn't really like about it is by the league making a game 6 go down. I'm like, you're kind of creating a hostile environment. Like the teams you guys were kind of at it, whole bunch of shit went down at the end of game 5, right? Like I
And
just didn't
that's what
want
I'm
to see
saying
anybody
too.
fucking hurt or something over something stupid, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that was the thing. So to me, the league should have, what they should have done is the league should have said, okay, whatever happens, something fucked up. Halsey should have just been cut in half to 1 game. Your guy there, if they wanted to reduce it, they shouldn't have just wiped 7 games off the board. To me, the match goes, but the official one sticks, like the one with the
Yeah,
ref
for
should
sure.
stick. Because to me, the referees didn't, or sorry, the league didn't back the refs like
No,
at
and I
all.
saw
Like
that in your
not,
one episode
yeah,
too.
like not in
So
the slightest. And that was, to me, that was a slap in the face to the refs. So, but I was like, man, game 6, I wanted to go, but I had to work. But I was like,
yeah.
shit, because I knew it was going to be
Oh,
good.
Oh, it
and
was.
you should have. It was. I thought we were gonna get shut out. It was. It was so bad. I was like, because I had talked to you that night, and I was like, or even prior to that, I was like, man, I'm rooting for this guy now in the net, but I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
standing next to the GM of Essex because he was allowed to be there by league rules. He just couldn't visit the room or anything
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
or
mean,
associate with.
how does the suspension work for that? Like
I,
he can be with the team, but not with the team,
He
right?
just can't
exactly.
go in the room.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it
So
makes a huge difference.
we're we're all I'm standing there watching and like, oh, there wasn't a peep. It was such a like we were gripping the rail that goes around the arena. We're like, we're gonna get shut out. Like the shots every period were like 12-4 the first period, second period 17-10, and it's like John was lights out, and that just the first one that broke the ice was our guy who had scored like every game, the first goal, Goovy, Austin
Dude,
Goovermont.
Okay,
that
yeah.
is he that 16-year-old too?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a
yeah.
sniper, man.
That guy is a sniper. He beat me a couple times actually. I think that game 2 with like 5 minutes left in the third tied it up blocker side. I think he got one game 5, the game winner, the second goal for you guys, blocker side.
Yeah, he's got a
Like,
hell of a shot.
he
That
can,
one,
yeah,
that's
he
his
can
bread
hit
and
that
butter.
puck,
Mhm.
especially as a 16-year-old. I mean, from my the way I see it, you guys will be lucky to still have him next year.
I was literally, you took
Yeah.
the words right out of my mouth. I was just gonna say, I don't think we're gonna have him
I
next
think
year.
Yeah,
I
you
think
guys
no,
he's
had
gonna
him
be
for
somewhere
1
else.
year and that was it.
yeah. From inside sources, he's going to a much higher level than what he's playing right now.
Yeah,
He's
he
that kid,
doesn't
and he's tall
shock me.
too. He
Yeah,
No,
grew
he's a
got the
big
size.
kid.
right into his
He's got
body,
the
and
size.
his that movie put on the one D man. I was like, oh,
Spin
I'm like,
cycle.
just let one in, John. Just let it be this one. Just a beauty barring in. He always likes that the blocker side from that left circle. But
Yeah.
so moving on, the start of this year, I guess it would have transpired during the summer. How does it work out that you get a phone call from the Saginaw Spirit? Talk about that experience.
Wait.
Yeah, so that was pretty sweet too. So actually the Saginaw came after. I had a little I went to the Sarnia Stings camp here in the
Oh,
summer. And then Saginaw came a little later after. It was the assistant GM from there, Brian Prout, who reached out to my old man, came home from school one day. And it was still like the August time where guys are at the NHL camps and that. Like I think Lennox was with the Islanders and Oak was with the Red Wings, right? So I went down to Saginaw for a little bit there, got to practice with the teams. They set me up with a billet down there, stayed down there for a bit and was fortunate enough to play in a game against Flint. And that was quite the experience. Definitely one that's high up there. Won't be forgetting anytime soon. But just it was such a sweet experience. Something I didn't really expect either. Like I was never drafted, right? Overlooked in the draft. I missed most of my draft year with an injury. So I kind of got looked over, but I mean, there's ways around that. There's guys you hear about who get picked up as free agents and still get their chances. So I mean, that was definitely something special. I was super pumped for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's always a way. When it comes to
Oh
being a
yeah,
goalie, there's always
yeah,
a way. Teams
yeah,
need goalies, and there's only 2 per squad. So
Mhm.
exactly.
So how did it go in your one? Did you win?
Yeah, we won. So it was actually a split game, and their other goalie, Brett Fullerton, awesome dude, great goalie. I played against him in AAA. We played for the Burlington Eagles there, and
okay.
wicked goalie. So he was with Saginaw. They sent him back down to the Maroons after, but I mean, like they got 2 NHL goalies there, right? Like they got some studs in their net. So we were playing in Flint actually, and they were up 1-0, or sorry, yeah, 1-0. And about halfway through, they're like, "Okay, you're gonna go in and get some ice." I was like, "Oh, we're
Probably
up."
like, oh shit.
Like, I thought I was just here to kind of observe and soak it all in, right? And they're like, "Yeah, we'll go soak it in from the ice." So we got out there and held my own, didn't let any through. So I was pretty bummed
Ooh.
with that. It wasn't a ton of shots, like 10 shots or something, but it was just kind of, I got in there and shaky feet. And like you said at the start of games, like once you get those couple quick shots, you're kind of in that groove and kind of
Mhm.
settled in. So once I actually got onto the ice and was just able to do my thing, it just kind of settled in a bit. And
So how do you find from the net being in now you've played a game in the O to games in junior C? Like how do you find like they got to be so different, right?
yeah, funny you say that because I think one of my first games back was against Wallaceburg when I came back from Saginaw, and I think it was like first or second shot of the game, just terrible goal that went in, but it went in.
Muffin.
It was just still adjusting from the speed because I mean, like when we were in like down there, it's just like bang, bang, bang,
Yep.
bang, like pass, 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 shot, 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 and the quality of the shots too, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
Like you've got these guys who are all drafted by NHL teams and
Just
soon to
ripping
be
lasers at you.
oh my God, cannons. And in a way, like it almost helps you. You're used to those higher speed, higher quality shots. So when you go
Mhm.
back to see them, or you'd think like, oh, this will be a breeze, whatever, right? Like I'm used to these high speeds, high quality, lower
Mhm.
speeds, lower quality would only make it easier. But I actually felt it was harder when I came back, just adjusting from that speed. But once I kind of adjusted a bit, got back into the groove there. So
Mhm. What I
it
always
was it was
found
definitely different, like just the speed.
like one of the things I always found nuts with guys in net is like when you're in net and they're slinging it around at the point and there's shots coming
Yeah.
from the point and everything and you got like traffic out front and this and that. Like I find when like you guys are down sometimes it's just like shots are coming through and like you guys can't see it. It's just is the puck gonna hit you
Yeah.
or not? Like is that
That's
like
a
one of
lot of
those
it.
things that is just you just kind of just have to hope that the puck just hits you?
Yeah, and well, I mean, especially someone like myself, I'm a little bit on the smaller side. Like I'm still under 6 foot. A lot of these guys 6'4", 6'5". But I mean,
Mhm.
at the same time, there's positive. Like being that small, I can kind of get down, try to
Mhm.
see
Mhm.
through the traffic, see through the legs, right, and hope it hits me. But at the same time, I don't take up as much net as some of those like 6'4", 6'5" towers do, right? So,
Right.
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah, you
but
could tell
it
the
has its
difference.
advantages and disadvantages. But definitely wish I still had a little more size there, right?
Yeah, you can tell in the difference in their style of play, right? Like the great
Oh
big
yeah,
tall ones, when the pucks get moved at the point, like you said, Ant, they'll stand up and look above the
Mhm.
traffic
oh
before
yeah,
they drop into the butterfly. Other ones,
yeah,
they're crouched down, trying to look between knees, and especially with
yeah.
when guys know how to shoot low, right? And they're looking
Yeah.
for tips. So,
Yeah, exactly. Like
I
Saginaw's actually playing Sarnia right now. So I've
uh-huh.
been going to the games in Sarnia and just watching like Lennox and Gaudreau play. Like those are two of the best goalies in the O, in my opinion. And I think stats and numbers and history, they speak for itself, right? And just watching Lennox, like he's a big dude. Like he's just towering over guys. He's not having to look around. He just looks kind of over them and
Mhm.
wicked goalies like that. That I love just watching them learning, picking up new things. Like they're both phenomenal goalies.
So
So
when
who are
no
you sorry, I was gonna ask who are you pulling for then?
Oh
You
man,
got a
I
bit to
mean,
like in both teams here, but
yeah, I'm kind of in a gray area. It's just kind of whatever happens, I'm kind of content with. I mean, Sarnia boy, right? Growing up,
Mhm.
almost born and raised here, so growing up playing Lambton AAA my whole life, and so I mean, kind of leaning towards the hometown team, but kind of
Yeah.
leaning towards the team that gave me that chance and that I spent more time with, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So kind of just whatever happens, happens. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Good.
we'll see.
Um, so obviously when you're in net, the puck's always hitting you and this and that.
Yeah.
Besides your nuts, obviously, Where's the worst spot to get hit by a puck?
Oh, hands down, collarbones, shoulders, collarbones.
Oof.
Yeah.
The worst.
You would think that they would make it so it would be like extra padding kind of.
Yeah, like you got the neck guard kind of goes across the upper area, goes from kind of like shoulder to shoulder along the collarbones. But
Do you
some guys
wear
they
the
also
one
wear like
that,
those plastic
yeah,
danglers.
do
I
you wear
used
that?
to. I got chirped a little bit for it. So I was like, you know what? Snip, snip, snip. Off with it. Keep up the style, right?
They were
And,
fucking chirping you for it?
oh yeah, I mean, a couple of guys they get razzed about it. Just you don't be a sissy about it. Take it off, and
And then you say, how about you fucking stand in the net?
yeah,
Yeah, there
let
you
me
go.
some extra.
Like
Yeah,
Flurry,
there's
Flurry
actually-
still wears it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Oh yeah. There was one I actually caught right when it came off, like a week into it. I was skating with Mooretown. It was in the middle of a game too, like right in this. It wasn't like at the front or the collarbone. It was like right in the side of the neck, and it was just pounding. It's like mid play too, so you kind of just get down and you're like wheezing, but you can't just lay there, right? So you kind of just
Right.
gotta muscle through it. And once you get like you ask any other goalies, they take one up there. You don't forget the pain.
Oh man, I couldn't do it.
I'm just lucky, like didn't get me straight on the throat or anything, right? But
Yeah, like what do you do? Just kind of like duck your head down a little bit when the shot kind
yeah,
of comes like that? Like what are you supposed to
something like
fucking
that.
do?
Especially
Especially the way some of these kids are shooting nowadays too, man. Like these kids got
Yeah.
cannons. So speaking of that, what's one of the harder shots you face? Like who is it who
Oh,
rips
geez.
them?
From what, Mooretown?
Just anywhere, man.
We'll say the PJHL for now.
Someone who shot and you were like, holy shit, that was a heavy shot.
I gotta say that Gouvermont,
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. Him, that boy can shoot, especially for only being 16. Like he's still a young one, right?
Mhm.
There, I think 19 on Wheatley.
Braden
Catano.
Catano, yeah.
Yeah.
That boy can shoot too. Carvalho.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
there's a couple guys, and 27 on the Flags. Gavin Black, real big, tough dude. He's actually in the fire program with me at Lambton. Real
awesome.
stand-up dude, great character, great teammate. That boy can shoot, tough as nails, big dude. I've taken some like even right in the gut too. Like we've got these big chest protectors now, right? You're still like, oh, you get one in the sternum, still knocks the wind out of you. And
Gee, fuck
there's a
that.
couple heavy shots there.
Yeah. So when you're facing heavy shots like this, and obviously, like you mentioned earlier, it's a lot of work to be a goalie. Talk a bit about what you do for your training regime and like keeping yourself in shape. What does that look like, especially for a goaltender?
If I got to be honest, mostly this year, the fire school's it's kind of what's keeping me in shape. Like it's a lot of running, cardio, flexibility. So we have gym 3-4 times a week. Well, not really gym, fitness classes, like a passing grade. You need to get 10 on the beep test just to pass, right? Like
Okay.
a lot of cardio. So I mean, most of my workouts come from there. Before that, I had hockey specific workouts, like just from trainers, and then like going down to Saginaw, right? You can still take some of those things back, like your pregame activations on your hips and groins, knees, whatever, like the important parts for goalies, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
I think definitely taking away stuff like that definitely improves your game, especially as a goalie. Like half the battle's physical and the other half's mental, right? So I mean, just
Exactly.
having that physical component, learn how to get properly loosened up. That way you're not getting hurt, especially like when you start playing a lot of the minutes too. I definitely felt myself getting tired between school and hockey, and then like playoffs, it's game, rest, game, rest, or like
Exactly.
like when we played you guys, I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, it was a weird schedule.
5 days.
Exactly.
Like even that game 1 and Tuesday. So I had so we have like for fire school, we have our long days, like our training days, and then like lecture days and that. So Tuesday was one of my training days. So I spent 5 hours doing these structure fires at school, completely wiped. I got in the car, drove myself down to Essex, still got like smoke and soot on me. Got to Essex, hopped in the shower, threw my gear on, and kind of went from there. Grabbed a meal on the way. And, it was still one of my better games this year. So
yeah, it's still a game. Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
yeah, that was kind of the ongoing joke with some of the guys on the team is we got to go light some houses on fire before the game and see what happens.
That's funny, man.
Yeah,
What about food? Is there any certain like freaking pregame meal that you like,
it's
or
like I'm not too crazy superstitious or anything, but lately what I found is working, and props to my mom for this. She always used to cook like a ton of chicken breast at one time and sweet potatoes too. Love sweet potatoes, like one of my go-to things. And she would freeze them and just stockpile them in the freezer. So I just take one out, throw it in, throw it on the counter, let it defrost, and take it with me for games on the bus or eat it before home games and some green beans. And that was kind of it.
Love it.
And then the
Nice.
odd time when there wasn't any chicken around or anything, I was getting these Tim's rice bowls. Lights out.
Tim's rice.
So good. That was actually the one on the way to Essex the one day, straight from school, right to the Timmy's, and rice bowl it was.
That's hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, lights out.
That's
So
hilarious.
I wanted to ask you, is there any player in the NHL that you pattern your game after?
I like to watch Saros from Nashville a lot, just like the build, right? Like he's smallest goalie in the NHLs, and I'm one of the smaller guys, right? So seeing how those smaller guys succeed at those higher top-notch levels, see what I can learn from them, how to incorporate it into my game, and see what I can do with that, right? Like they all have different play styles. Someone like Vasilevsky, who's quick, agile, and also tower, right?
Yeah.
So you look at Saro, someone a little smaller, you kind of try to model my game after him, see what he does, try it myself, see what works, see what doesn't.
Well, that's a guy to do it. He's a perennial Vezina candidate,
He's a
even
wicked
at whatever
goalie,
5'10",
carrying
5'11".
Nashville right now, and almost got him into the playoffs, but
Whatever.
Speaking of the NHL, are you a Leafs fan?
no. Oh no.
Thank God. If you were, interview over. Who do
Very,
you like?
very much against the Leafs. I'm actually a Bolts fan, so
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Little backstory on that actually. So living in Sarnia, I actually told Tristan about this one. Stammer played for the Sarnia Sting, right? So when he was playing for the Sarnia Sting, his billet family was our neighbor, and he used to live off this pond. And so every winter, this pond would freeze over, and some of these Sting guys all come down with Stammer, like Stammer's there too. We're all on the pond. I'm like 3-4 years old, just getting into hockey, right? And so I'm still like pushing my pylon around, sitting in the net with my yellow goalie pads on. And these guys are all messing around. So we still have pictures of us on the pond together and that. So when he got drafted to the Lightning, I mean, I was just like, look, this is my role model. This is this team. So it's my team too now. And it just kind of stuck. So it's definitely been an enjoyable past couple of years being a Lightning fan, getting those back-to-back cups. I hear the bandwagon comment a lot, but I like to give the story to back it up a bit. So
yeah. And what can anybody say to you with a backstory like that?
And pictures to prove it, right?
Yeah.
So
that's sick, man.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. I wish I was a little older to kind of retain some of those memories a little better and remember them a little more. But
so while we're on it, then do you think they're gonna knock out the Leafs in the first round or what? Like how do you think this is gonna go?
I don't know. I mean, given the Leafs kind of little past history and their curse going right now, I'm hoping that plays a role. But it's gonna be a tough one for them. I mean, you look at April, I think they went like 2-4, 2-5. They've been a walking band-aid these past couple of weeks, like guys all banged up,
but they have Andre Vasilevsky though.
I was just gonna say that too, not to be too biased or anything, but
it seems that he just flips a switch.
Oh, Vasi's nuts,
these
man.
goalies can steal series. So
look at Tristan over there, hockey guy. You know he's a hockey guy. When he's squirting the
Gatorade bottle still.
But man, just like I agree. I said like I just did my bracket today, and I did obviously Tampa Bay in 7. Like it's a Game 7 curse for Toronto.
That was my exact same Tampa Bay in 7, just like last year.
Yep, 100%, man. That's what it's going to be. And you already know it's going to be like a 2-1 game in Game 7 because Vasi's lights out.
And Toronto's going to have 50 shots and Tampa's going to have like 15, 20.
Yeah, and it's going to be like a Braden Point OT breakaway.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Just like last year, it was, I think, like of all guys, Paul, who got 2 goals in one game, and it was a 2-1.
They always pick up that one guy at the deadline who's like this year, they went a little bit overboard in getting Jeannot. They gave up crap ton of picks.
Yeah, back to the Nashville thing. That was iffy. I mean, I wasn't too sure about that one.
And but he got hurt too.
That big bruiser doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't he out right now?
Yeah. I think he's scratched for game 1. So
like scratched or hurt?
I think it's more hurt, but they're kind of just
because that guy's tough as shit, isn't he?
He's a rock.
He
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
I
no,
think we got a
he's
rock
he's
between
very
his
tough.
ears
But
too.
they got some guys that can like to me, like you throw him with the rig and the worm, and to me, you put those three together and just, hey boys, go out there and bang it up. Like what
Yeah.
else what
Yeah.
else do you do, right?
Oh
But the
man.
thing is though, is they could score too, but they will wear you down.
And
Those
that's,
Listen,
guys.
you know what, even back to Mooretown, that's how we had to play is
Yeah.
we even knew it in the playoffs too. Like I knew myself I was gonna have to have a couple good games in our special team. And then against Blenheim,
Okay.
our power play was firing. I think we were just shy of like 30 something percent. Like we
Wow.
were like 28, 29. Like our power play won us that series by far. I mean, we went into Essex and that's an even bigger mountain to climb, right?
Mhm.
So we knew like, look, we're gonna win these games and we're not gonna be winning 5-0 unless the game's called back. And
Nice
good one.
little
You stuck
shot
that in
there.
there, eh?
yeah, had to get that in there. Still don't know how that
Fucker.
one unrolls, but hey, it is. I'll take what I can get. I was actually gonna ask the GM, hey, I want that to count as a shutout.
Yeah, I was
5-0
gonna say, does that
against
count for
Essex.
you?
Come on,
Yeah, but
like
they
give me
kept the
that, right?
stats.
Right? Come
I
on.
don't know what's up with that. It makes
I
no
know.
sense because
Yeah,
like
it's
everyone got to keep their goals. Liam
yeah.
got an assist in a game he should have been suspended. It's like what?
But
Okay.
hey, I know. But hey, Mooretown side, I don't mind that we got that game back,
No,
right?
of course
No,
not.
good
Fuck.
But
dude.
anyway, yeah, like back to the Essex thing, we knew like it's gonna be our special teams, and like I said, Mooretown, we like to get caught up in the rough stuff. We like to try to wear teams down, so we find ourselves in penalty trouble sometimes, and I think that's where it hurt us a bit. You guys got some power play goals there, and then we kind of got down a little bit and
Dude,
just kind of
you
unraveled.
that game 6, you were your penalty kill. Holy smokes. You were literally the penalty kill. Essex had like 8 power plays, and John's
I
facing
was hurting.
5 shots every 10 seconds. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Mooretown's a small rink too. So you teams like Essex, Lakeshore, those really like refined, talented teams when there's just bang, bang, bang shot.
I
Like
wanted
every time face off, win it back, D to D, traffic shot.
yeah.
Every time. And it worked. Fuck, it works, man.
I wanted to ask, what went through your head when Arch went for the lacrosse move there, the Michigan?
I I don't know. I didn't really hear it. And then it was actually one of my defensemen. I can't remember who. They were just yelling up, 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 up. So I kind of looked and I saw this guy like I was looking behind me. And this guy's like trying to scoop it up, and I was like, "Oh, come on!" So I just tried to get across. And like I said, right, I'm a little guy. Like I'm not getting my head up there. So I just kind of like punched for that top corner, hoping like I'm gonna hit it or something. But
We're like, God, no, please
certainly
no.
glad he didn't pull it off because I didn't want to look
Oh.
silly, right? I didn't want to be that guy online getting scored on from a
On the
lacrosse.
fucking highlight reels.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. I didn't even think he had the balls to do it because, like, you got to be kidding me. Like,
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that too. If that went in, I was gonna ask Tristan if he can add that to my highlight reel too.
hey, listen, man. I've got enough clips and footage. I'm going to make you one and we're going to put it out on
Oh, come
YouTube.
on.
Because, like, dude, it was,
Come
listen,
on.
and you should have seen, like, game 1, every clip. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, lateral movement. It's a 2-on-0.
Yeah.
And this guy's coming across with the blocker, just wide open net. It was crazy. There was
I
one
appreciate
pad
that.
save you made. That was crazy. Like wide open net. And I couldn't believe it. Like it was a slap shot. You made
Yeah.
it big rebound. And the second one, your left pad just came across. And I was like,
Yeah. I think it was a 2-on-1 or something, right?
dude, it was crazy.
something
Yeah.
like that.
The one guy, he kind of pulled back and like he did like a toe drag, let the
Yeah,
shot
I
off,
think
and
I
the
remember what
rebound
you're
just came out.
saying.
Crazy stuff, man. But I also wanted to ask you, speaking of that, what is your most clutch save that you've made in your whole lifetime? What do you feel is like
Save.
the
Oh,
save?
Jesus. I think going back. So when I was like minor major Adam, I played in the States for Macomb Mustangs, and that was in the Little Caesars League. So like we were playing against CompuAir and Caesars and some of those other teams. And it was actually in the state final against Team Aurora, I think they were. And my dad actually got a picture of it. He used to be a photographer for the team, just kind of like a little side thing, like why not, right? And
Yeah.
it was in overtime. We ended up losing this game still, but it kept the game alive to get us to overtime in the third period. We were like down shorthanded or something, and I was like full on my stomach with my paddle on the ice with the puck sitting in front of that paddle, at like right from that save. So I think like with evidence, probably that one. But even going back, like I think game 6 against Blenheim, and it was like our game 5 against Blenheim, where a series was tied 2-2. We just won the
Mhm.
game. There was like 2.5 seconds left. We were in Blenheim. It's one hostile place to play, man. Let me tell you. I mean, when they
Oh
packed
yeah.
that Blenheim place, they had like it's a one-sided arena, right? So they
Yep.
got stands all on one side. I think they had like 950 people in attendance.
They
And
got that mascot too.
oh, I've had these little kids behind my net, man, with keys on the glass, just
Ding, 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 ding,
pounding
ding,
the
ding, ding,
glass,
ding, ding. Yeah,
driving me
like
Oh,
nuts.
yeah, it's like you're in a
Driving me
fishbowl.
nuts. Yeah. And anyway, so there's just a scrum. I didn't even know what was happening. It's just kind of like everyone's crashing the net, right? Like 2.5 seconds left. They had like 4 guys in front of me, and two their like they had that Spence guy, and I think Prudhomme, two of the heaviest shots out there. And so they just rifled one. It actually I left a mark on my back. I was kind of turned around, wasn't even facing it, and I felt a slap shot on my back. It just kind of just knocked the wind out of me. I don't know if it's like a clutch save because it was more like an accidental save, but it got us that win to game 6, and then we ended up getting the series. So I like that one. And
that's
I
awesome.
had the evidence for a while to show you, but
Holy
I
gone.
think you stole
smokes.
that series yourself, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
thank
That
you. It
Blenheim
was a
series for
team
sure.
effort, though. Like I said, our power play was clicking all series, so that
man.
was huge for us.
Gardner, he's quite the player. I'll
Yeah,
give it to him.
and,
He is quite the
yeah,
player.
he started off the year hot. I think he was dealing with a little injury or something throughout the year and kind of went dormant a little bit, and then playoffs. And this is what I was kind of expecting too. Like he was one of our overagers, right? And I said our overagers are going to come out this playoffs and just ball out for us. And sure enough, he did. Like I think Blenheim had like 12, 13 points or something in 6 games, like averaging 2 points a game, and like eight or nine of them were like power play too, right? So
Mhm.
or
That's
penalty
crazy.
kill even then. So
So
he like especially he's got that heavy left, he's got the C, right? So
mhm,
leading the team like that and leading by example definitely kind of sparks a fire in everyone on the team. So
Yep.
mhm.
Yeah, I definitely
definitely,
know. I definitely respect him as a player. He did very
yeah,
well for you guys all series.
yeah.
Like
Oh
he
yeah.
scored, I think he had that game winner, game 1. I want to say,
I
or was it
think
Flet?
no, I think he had the first and Flet had the second.
Okay.
It was like
But
some weird redirect off some guy's butt or something. Like
I don't know. Yeah, I felt bad for
I was just
AJ, and
happy
it
it went
was
in.
it was it was through a screen and it just went up above his shoulder. He's like,
Yeah.
but whatever. Stuff happens, right? Like you said,
Oh,
it'll happen
absolutely.
in the crease. You never know. Like, and just
You
talk
really
about
don't.
what does the future hold for John Chartrand? Like, are you hoping to return to
Uh,
Junior C? Is it maybe going up to the O, Junior B? What's the
I
deal?
mean, I think obviously the O would be lights out, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, something I don't know, like most guys, but for me myself, I like to focus on my education and that, right? And life down the line. Like I don't see myself going all the way like NHL, right? So you start to think about your post-secondary, what you're going to do for the next 30 years of your life, right? And obviously, I haven't started to pursue fire, so uh, I'm going back to Lambton for second year of fire school. And so, I mean, Mooretown's here, Legionnaires are here, but I don't know. Like, I made a lot of friends in Mooretown. Like, that place ended up being a brotherhood. So, I mean, like,
Mhm.
we were like a family there. It was unreal. Like, always hanging out together, going out, and we were all super tight. So, I mean, I loved playing there. The most fun year I've had in hockey. So, I mean, definitely really considering going back to Mooretown. And hopefully, if I get some calls for the camps for Saginaw or Sarnia this summer, I'd hopefully be going there and
Mhm.
junior B camps, see if any teams reach out.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that'd be
definitely
sick.
having that rather decent playoff run too. Hopefully that helped a bit.
Oh, I think it
I'm
did.
sure you're gonna get
Especially
the
when I
invite
put
back
out
to
that clip.
Mooretown.
Listen, I'm gonna tag every GM in the OHL and be like,
Oh geez.
"Okay, take out the specs. Have a look at this kid."
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you gotta scooch aside that bro shoe guy, right? You might know
Oh man,
him.
Brett, when you said, dude, as soon as you said Saros, I'm like, man, Brett would be singing your praises because when I talked to him last
Yeah.
summer, he's like, I watch a lot of
I
Saros.
remember. I remember you mentioned you were cousins with Brett, right? So
Yeah, and you know what? He's
and yeah, that's actually another goalie I like to watch too. Like I'd go to the nights and the Sarnia games because like the Battle of the 402 is a big deal.
Oh yeah.
it is.
It's a big deal. Like that
Yep,
was the only time Sarnia was selling out. People were like fighting at the door, green jerseys against yellow jerseys.
yep.
Like, there's always police at the games. It was like game 6 of Mooretown, right? And
And a good matchup too, like Benny Gaudreau and
bro,
Brett.
shoot, 2 world junior gold medalists for Canada,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, they're
You can't
fantastic.
beat that.
Like
So especially
Gaudreau he's a San Jose has his rights, right? I feel like
yeah, yeah.
he played AHL games already.
I don't think he has. He hasn't even
No?
signed yet, which I mean, I was kind
Wow.
of shocked
Okay.
about, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Well,
like watching Brochu too, like, and I mean, like he came from Dresden, right? Like he was a junior C
mhm.
guy. He was there when
Yep.
Dresden had that like phenomenal year. They were like third place or something. Like they had some studs there. Him, one of
Mhm.
them. So
Mhm.
just seeing that guy who was in junior C make that jump to junior A, right? I mean, I'd definitely like to look at that, and hopefully something can come of that one day, right? Get that exposure you need, and hopefully like
Wouldn't
get into another camp and go from there, right?
Yep. Wouldn't be a surprise at all, man. I like
Yeah,
just watching you play, it was an honor. You were stellar. Like I watched Brett that year play and like stealing series, and I thought it was going to be the same thing all over again. I was just like, please no. Like, of course it has to be a good goalie we run into in the second round. Like I
Oh
was
yeah.
worried. I'm not going to lie. I was like kind of happy when I saw Mooretown won. This is before I even knew of you. I'm like, what the heck? Okay, Blenheim just laid an egg.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we get Mooretown, and then I'm like, my buddy's like, no, 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 you don't want Mooretown. And I'm like, why? And he's like, you're gonna get goalied. I'm like, by who? I'm like, Essex won like 6-2 though, and he's like, no, 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 that was their other guy. He says they got John Chartrand, and I'm like,
Yeah,
sure
and
enough,
I think I
game
missed
one.
actually all three Essex games because you guys have those Tuesday night home
Yep.
Tuesday nights in Essex, right? And those are my long days for school. So I mean, like I was coming, but I was backing up because look, I was already dead. I've already been outside for 8, 9 hours today and fires and that, right? So like I'm gassed. I just want to go to bed. So I mean, I was just riding the bench for those games. I think I played two of the home games against Essex too. One of them, I think I sat one of them was the very last one of the year going into playoffs, right? So just kind of
Mm-hmm.
taking that extra little rest. So I only played you guys twice during the regular season. And so definitely coming into playoffs and coming off that Blenheim high too, right? Like I think I saw 315 or 320 shots in 6 games. So
This guy's
Jesus.
I was looking at the
Like 50 shots a game. That's ridiculous, dude.
yeah, I was looking at the rankings after the first round, and I think there was only like two guys who played more than 6 games. So they actually went to game seven. Like we beat them in game six, right? But I was still like 180 shots ahead of them or something. So it was coming off that high. And I mean, like I said, like I live for that, right? Like I love those nights where I'm getting peppered, I'm gassed, I'm sleeping the second my butt hits that seat on the bus. Like
yep.
Holy fuck, boys.
that's
Block a shot for fuck's sakes.
yeah, and actually, funny you say that. They've been good with that. Like even
Yeah.
that game one when we stole in Essex, like
Yeah, you guys blocked a
those
lot of shots.
those
Oh
guys
man.
were warriors out there. Like we had guys in the dressing room. Like we ended up leaving Essex so late. Guys just weren't getting undressed. They were just sitting with ice bags and not taking their gear off. Just needed a breather, right?
Mhm.
So we had
That's
a we had a
pretty
lot of
cool.
those guys just soaking shots. Like there's no tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
Like
game
game
six
seven,
too.
overtime, Stanley Cup final.
Mhm.
Same
Yeah.
thing with game six. Like, again, Essex had all those power plays, and it just seemed
Yeah.
like nothing was working. I was like, and then finally we broke through in the third. I know it was at like you were on the wrong side of it. I'm not trying to rub that in. I'm just saying like it was so relieving. I was like, if this is a 0-0 overtime 1-0 game, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that was
lose my
oh,
mind. I did not want a game seven. I
I
was
know.
like, because you know it's John's gonna be absolutely lights out in a game seven.
Yeah, I definitely like those elimination games or those tight ones. And just like game two, like we were up 1-0 all the way. And like we won game one, right? So going into game
Mm,
two, like look, if we can get up 2-0 on Essex, that is like even if we lose, you know what? We won back to back against Essex.
Mhm.
So and game two, it's like 5 minutes left in the third. We're up 1-0. Everyone like that place was packed too. I think everyone in there was sweating a little bit. And sure enough, you guys got that little snipe at the end by that 16-year-old, right? So he got him back in and then right into overtime. I think it was like 30 seconds in. Same thing. And
yeah,
guy
loose
had him
puck.
bar down and I was like, it's a nice goal. And then saw them all right off the ice. I was like,
Yeah.
oh come on, at least celebrate or something. Don't
They
Mhm.
do
went
me
for the
like
cold
that.
celly.
But yeah, yeah. Back
Oh
to
yeah, that was when he just left the ice, eh?
Yep,
yeah.
Arch.
He scored and I kind of turned around and the door was open and everyone's like sprinting off the ice. And I was like trying to see if I missed something, right? But yeah,
I've
anyway.
seen that one. Oh fuck,
That
man.
was slick.
Chris, I'm tapped if you have anything else for him. Actually, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Who's gonna win the cup this year?
I gotta be honest. I don't think it's Tampa. It's not going to be Boston. despite their President's Trophy team, they don't win the cup. I'm thinking the Canes are going to take it this year.
Ooh,
Okay.
A little bit of a
I
hot
like
take.
it.
I see. I would have agreed with you like a month ago, and then
Yeah.
Svechnikov got hurt,
Yeah.
and then
yeah.
I'm like, now I was second guessing my bracket, and I ended up. Obviously, it's kind of biased, but like every year I root for them. The Stars in the playoffs, just because,
Yeah.
especially now they got Wyatt Johnson, who's a Windsor boy.
I mean, Ottinger too. Like that guy's
Jake
a star.
Ottinger last year versus Calgary. Oh my
That's
gosh.
what I mean, like he was getting those 45, 50 shots a game, and Calgary was scoring 1 goal, and they were a bit of a wagon last year too. Towards the end of the year in playoffs, like they were scary.
When they and
I had
the
them in the
game
cup
winner,
final in my
I'll
bracket,
give it to them. I'll give it to them. That game 7, that winner was an absolute snipe. Gaudreau he had this much room. And went above
hold the size
Ottinger's
of the
head.
puck. Yeah. Yeah.
But
so
anyway,
they can ride him all the way. That'd be pretty sweet.
For sure.
we'll see. We'll see. But
do you have anything else for him?
no, that's all. Just once again, I want to tell everyone who's listening, like, I can't reiterate it enough. This guy is a class act. He was a very bright spot on that Mooretown team. I want to also thank you, John, for caring to one of our players, Jack Firth. He has had concussion problems, and he suffered a hit from behind there. And I noticed right away you skated up and like we're checking on him, and that's very much appreciated, man. That shows where your heart's at, and that you care for no one or care for everyone, no matter the emblem on the chest. So keep being classy, man.
Hey, we're all kids playing the game we love, right? So
yeah, John, man, honestly, welcome here anytime, bro. Anytime. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you guys.
And,
seriously.
Dude, this has been great, and stay in touch with us, eh?
Okay, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna get you some merch. Don't worry about it.
For sure.
I know you were down that little hat trick hockey hat. I mean, kind of like the looks of that. Might have to send.
I got it around some here somewhere, but we got hoodies and stuff too.
We'll shoot the shit off the air on that. But thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Thank you, John. Have a good one, bud.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Take it easy.
I've lost my fight with time. My numbers up and up the line. I gaze at the darkness, so empty. Just looking for the light. Shout for help, but no one's there. Need a guiding hand, someone who cares. All alone in the darkness, I've realized for the first time I am scared. If I could do it all again, if I had one more chance, my friend, I would rewrite all my wrongs. I would find where I belong. I got lost along the way. I had so much more to say. If I could do it